Okay. 2 truths and a lie. You know how that works, don't you? I tell you 3 stories about myself. 2 of them are real, and 1 of them is just like made up, like fabricated. Well, no, see, that's the game. You have to guess which ones that lie. I'm not going to tell you. Yeah? Okay. Okay. I was put into drag in a museum against my will. So that's a strong start. That's a strong one to open with. Yeah, so when I was a little kid, I had like quite, this is context, I had quite long hair. Like it wasn't like shoulder length, it was just kind of like, you know, sort of out. It looked shit, is the point. It looked shit regardless of what style it was. Anyway, when I was like 9 or 10 maybe, my friend's parents took me and a couple of my friends to this museum of like Shakespearean England stuff. I think it was to do with the Globe, maybe, I don't know. So we all went along to that, and like you walk through, there's all the exhibits and all that, and then at the end there's this big room with a stage at the end, and they like do presentations there, and they like demonstrate all sorts of like Shakespearean little gadgets and gizmos and all that. So we got there, and there were like 20 odd people watching this presentation, and the guy on stage says, "Oh, for this next bit we need a volunteer," and fucking I was always the exact same. You know, like I was always, I've not changed a bit. I was just as much of an attention-seeking little dickhead then as I am now. You know, so I was obviously at the back going, me, pick me. And I was like, all right, you then, since you're so enthusiastic, come on up. I was like, great. And he said, there's a couple of costume bits off stage in the wings. Why don't you go try those on? We'll show everyone. I was like, oh, jackpot. So I went out, tried one. Only when I was putting on the tights did I realise that something might be wrong. So I came out in a blouse and tights. The guy fucking grabs me, bundles me and ropes me into this massive fucking corset, which really hurts, by the way. I don't know how people do it. And he then put this like dress skeleton on me, like one of the ones that like Victorian ladies had like skirts stayed bell-shaped with. I don't know. Whatever it was like quite a while before drag became like a cool in thing. So I was fucking mortified. My friends were in the audience pissing themselves. So my theories are that like either this bloke doesn't see gender, which again, unlikely. Very progressive if he does, great thing, but unlikely. Maybe he mistook me for a girl, potentially, or he saw a shitty little kid who needed to be taken down a notch or two, which, to be honest, on some level, I kind of appreciate looking back on it. So that's number 1. Number 2, I crashed a golf buggy with a tampon up my nose. So I was on this like big estate thing up in Scotland. It was like a castle sort of thing. This girl that my friends and I knew from school, it was her birthday, and her family are fucking loaded, like proper Tory, wealthy, 1% represent sort of people. So she invited me and a bunch of my friends up to Scotland for this massive like 3-day celebration sort of thing. And on the second night there was a black tie dinner. And I hate being late to things, but I was also going through a very stressful period of my life. And when I go through stressful periods of my life, I get chronic nosebleeds like all the time. So fucking of course, 2 minutes before we were meant to go, I was leaning over the sink waiting for my fucking nose period to stop. So everybody else had left, and I was there panicking, going, fucking come on, come on, come on, come on. My friend Jess had stayed behind with me, and she jokingly offered me a tampon. But I was like, no, yeah, give me a fucking tampon. Let's fucking do it, let's go. I fucking grabbed it off, I jammed it up my nose, marched out to the golf buggies that you had to use to get like everywhere around the estate because it was so fucking big. And she hopped in the passenger seat, and so when I'm anxious, I'm mal-coordinated at the best of times, right? But when I'm anxious, that shit fucking plummets. Like, I am awful. So while we were driving, I noticed, my foot's a little bit low on the accelerator, and I seem to be steering quite a lot for someone who's driving in a straight line. Didn't really know how to process this information, didn't really know what to do with it. Hit a fucking tree, didn't I? Hit a fucking tree. So, yeah, Jess and I swapped over, and I was kind of huddled in the passenger seat for the rest of the journey in my little tuxedo with the tampon up my nose. To be honest with you, kind of ruined my night a little bit. I mean, the whole trip was shit, but that was a low point. Yeah, so that's number 2. And then number 3, I met a gnome in a club. It sounds much more interesting than it is. So my friend Henry invited myself and my other friend Molly to go clubbing with him one night. So we went along. About halfway through the night, shit night by the way, shit club, shit night. Henry and I were standing on the edge of the dance floor. Molly was getting a drink at the bar, so we were just standing at the edge. And I was looking over people's heads, and I noticed there was a crater in the middle of the dance floor where no one was dancing. Everyone was like avoiding it. So I nudged Henry and I was like, mate, maybe someone's like passed out over there and needs help. I'm just going to go check. And he was like, yeah, no worries. He's a big bloke, Henry. So we elbowed our way to the middle. And in the middle was this tiny little man. And he can't have been taller than like 4'7", 4'8" maybe. Like he didn't have dwarfism either. He was like normally proportioned. He was just short. And he had perfectly manicured hair, perfectly manicured beard, which was pointed, by the way, which is why I say gnome. Really expensive clothes and jewellery, and he was off his fucking tits. Hang on, I'll put this down, because he was literally going, and he had his eyes clamped shut, and he was like doing that, and I fucking like, he looked like he was on the verge of tears, and I nudged him, and was like, mate, are you okay? And he was like, and so like Henry and I just like danced with him for a little bit, because I was genuinely concerned for the bloke. So we started dancing with him. We were dancing with him for like 5-10 minutes, and then Molly came back with a drink, and we were all dancing with him. And then suddenly it was like a bolt of lightning went through him, and it was like he kind of woke up, and he opened his eyes, and it was like he was seeing everything for the first time. And he looked me up and down, and he looked around, he looked Henry up and down, and he looked around. He looked Molly up and down, did a fucking double take, right? And whatever he saw, he didn't like. And he might have mistaken her for a bloke because she's got quite short hair. Whatever it was, this look of just white-hot fury descended over his face. And he fucking wheeled back, jumped, and fucking open hand smacked her full arm across the face, landed it, scampered off into the night. Never saw him again. Molly was fine. Like, bless him, I don't think he could put that much power behind it. But, yeah, we met a gnome in a club. So, that's number 3. 2 of those really happened, and one of them was a lie. What do you reckon?